What's up guys, Johnny May here and welcome to this week's quick tip where I'm going to teach you how to improvise jazz piano if you've never tried improvising before or if you are brand new to the piano. Now most students think that to improvise jazz you have to learn all of your scales and all of your arpeggios up and down the piano, but the truth is that you can start improvising jazz piano today even if you're a complete beginner. So let's go ahead and dive in. Alright, the first step to playing jazz piano is to know what key you are in. So we're going to quickly review our C major scale, and then I'm going to teach you the chords and how to improvise over the scale. Okay, what is the C major scale? Well, if you start on a middle C here, it's the note just below these two black notes. Okay, this is C, and if you walk a C major scale up the piano, it's basically all white notes. Okay, that's the C major scale. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and C. Okay, it's a very, very simple scale to learn. Now, when you're playing chords in jazz, you basically take the notes of your scale and you skip every other note. So try this with me. Let's put a C on our left hand. We'll skip the D, we'll play the E. Now we're going to skip the F, we're going to play the G, and then we skip the A and we play the B. Okay? And this is called a seventh chord. It's called a major seventh chord. Okay? Now don't worry too much about the naming and the theory here, but this is the way we build chords in jazz, is we take the note from the scale and then we skip every other note from the scale and we end up with these intervals. Intervals are simply the distance between two notes, and we call this a third interval. This is a second interval, this is a third interval, all right? So we're building third intervals up the piano to build our chord. This is called a C major 7 chord. Now you can actually do this for every note of the scale. So you can actually take the 7th chord and shift it up to a D, and now we have a 7th chord built on the second note of the C major scale. This is called the D minor 7th chord. Now don't worry too much about the naming here, I just want you to understand the concept. And you can do this on every note from the scale. This is called the 3 chord. It's built on the 3rd note of a C major scale. This is a 4 chord, this is a 5 chord, this is a 6 chord, and this is a 7 chord. Okay? The technical name for these chords are called diatonic chords, and you can do a deep dive on this over at Piano with Johnny. But this is the basic idea. Jazz simply uses 7th chords that come from the major scale, and in jazz you kind of hop around to these chords. Now the most common progression in jazz music is called the 2-5-1 chord progression. You might have heard about it, and the 2-5-1 simply means that you put a 7th chord on the 2 or the second note of the scale. So this is the first note of the scale, the D is the second note of the scale. We build a 7th chord on the 2, then we build a 7th chord on the 5. Well, what's the 5 of a C major scale? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's a G. So we come up to G, we build our 7th chord, and now we're going to go to our 1 chord. Our 1 chord in the key of C major is a C major 7, C, E, G, and B. Does this make sense? So this is the most common progression in jazz music, and I would just practice jumping D minor 7. This is called a G7 chord. Again, don't worry too much about the names here. You will learn these as you get better at jazz, and this is our 1 chord. And this is used on tons of different tunes, like Fly Me to the Moon. 2, 5, 1. Or Autumn Leaves. 2, 5, 1. Okay? Or The Way You Look Tonight. 2, 5, 1. Right? Does that make sense? So it's used on lots and lots of different tunes, and so if you learn this progression, you'll actually be able to improvise on a lot of jazz standards. By the way, if you're enjoying this lesson, please give it a thumbs up, and if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button for more videos just like this. Now, when you're playing chords in jazz, you don't want to jump around to your chords. It's a lot better to find chords that are closer to the one that you started on. And when we played this G7 chord, you can actually rearrange the notes of this chord where you basically put the D and the F on the bottom of the chord. We're going to take that D and the F off of this, and we're going to put them down here, D and F. And now I'm playing a G7 chord. It's the same chord I played earlier, but I'm simply rearranging the notes. I'm taking those top two notes off the top and I'm putting them down here. And so if you do this in your left hand, D, F, G, and B, guess what? After we play that D minor 7 chord, it's super close by. All we have to do is drop the A to the G and the C to the B, and we have our G chord. This is our 5 chord on the 2-5-1. And so this makes it a lot easier to jump to chords. Now, on my 2 chord, I'm here, D minor 7. On my 5 chord, I'm here on the G7, and now I'm here on the 1 chord for my C major 7. I call these more efficient chords. You can learn more about chord inversions over at Piano with Jonny. The final step before we start to improvise is to play a chord substitute. And when you land on this 1 chord, a C major 7, which is the name of this chord, you can actually substitute that top note, that B, down a step to the A, all right? This is a chord substitute, and you can substitute this chord for this chord. This is called a major 7 chord. This is called a major 6 chord. But again, don't worry too much about the names here. And so when we play this chord progression, we're gonna go 2, then we're gonna go 5, this is our 5 chord, 1, and then 1 like this, okay? Let's go ahead and play this with the backing track. There is a backing track that comes along with this lesson. Here we go. Here we go. 2, 5, 1. And now the substitute. All right, you're sounding great. You can practice this with the backing track. I'll put a link to it below. You can actually download this. You can also download the lesson sheet music up here on the top left of the screen. You can print it, and you can change the key with the click of 1 button. You can practice this in any key with our smart sheet music, so I'll put a link to all of that below. All right, it is time to improvise. Are you ready to improvise some jazz? What you want to first do is you want to learn the most important scale in jazz music. It's called the gospel scale. All right, it is such a cool sounding scale. This scale is also called the major blues scale. So what are the notes of the scale? Well, here they are. Go ahead and play these with me. C, D, E, G, and A. We're gonna use all of our fingers, and we're gonna add 1 note to this scale. We're gonna add an E flat to this scale, and that is the gospel scale or the major blues scale. You can think of this as a C major scale with the 1, the 2, the 3. We're gonna skip the 4, the 5, the 6, and then we're gonna add this E here. This is called the flat 3, all right? 1, 2, 3, 5, 6 with the flat 3. Now we're gonna drop that top note, that A, and we're gonna put it on the bottom here to learn our 2 grips here. So go ahead and play it like this. And then you can also add the E flat just like that. So we're gonna play it thinking of it more in this position, but again, the scale is a major blues scale or the gospel scale. All right, here's the 2 grips you need to improvise jazz piano. The first one is like this, E flat, E, and G. Now the fingering uses our index finger, our middle finger, and our pinky, okay? We call the finger numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we put the 2 on the E flat, the 3 on the E, and the 5 on the G. The second grip that you need to learn is called grip number 2, okay? Grip number 2, we're gonna put the ring finger on the E flat, the 3rd finger on the D, the index finger on the C, and the thumb on the A, all right? So that's gonna be grip number 2. So go ahead and just practice both of these grips. We'll go to the top grip here, grip 1, and then grip 2. Grip 1, grip 2, and just kind of practice jumping in between both of these positions. All right, now that you know these grips, let's talk about how to improvise with each of these grips. So we're gonna play that 2-5-1 chord progression, D minor 7, G7, C major 7, and C6. This is that 2-5-1, and we're gonna improvise a little line using both of our grips. Check out this little line. So So what am I doing? Basically, I'm starting on my D minor 7 chord. I'm gonna be in grip number 1. I'm doing this little 8th note line, 1 and 2 and 3, and I'm basically coming up these 3 notes, okay? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And now I'm gonna go to grip number 2, which is here, and I'm gonna come down this scale, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then we'll end our line 1 and 2 and 3, right? Twice on the C down to A, okay? You see what we did there? And then at the end of the phrase, we're gonna go, basically this is a C6, I'm coming up my grip 2, A, C, D, C, E flat, D, C, all right? So that's the full line. We'll do it at medium tempo. Grip 2, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and repeat. Isn't that a cool idea? And you can actually practice this as an exercise. Let's go ahead and do it with a backing track, and then I'll show you how to create your own lines using this idea. Here we go. Here we go. G, C, all right, great job, you're sounding awesome. Now if you want to improvise with this idea, it's actually really simple to do because basically I can hit any of these notes and I can switch between my grips. So that's grip 1, and now I might come down to grip 2. I can repeat the chord progression. Maybe this time I'll start with my grip 2. And then go up to grip number 1. And there's all kinds of cool ways that you can create lines using this idea. The key is to leave little gaps in between your lines so that you do not play run-on sentences. All right, let's talk about triplets. I love the triplet sound. The triplet exercise goes like this. All right, here's basically what we're doing. We're doing our 2, 5, 1 in C. We'll start with that grip number 1, and we're gonna play these 3 notes using the triplet pattern. Triplet, 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 and then we'll end on the E. And then we'll go to triplets on grip number 2, which will be here. Triplet, triplet, triplet. I'm going E flat, D, C. I'm just repeating this. A, and then we'll do a new pattern. Basically, this is C, D, C, D, C, A. C, D, C, D, C, A. These are triplets. 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a, okay? So we're dividing each beat into 3 notes, and that's how you get that triplet sound. All right, let's play this with a backing track, and then I'll teach you how to improvise with this. Here we go. Okay, nice work with triplets, and if you want to improvise your own lines with triplets, then you simply play any triplets that you want, just make sure you leave little gaps. So here's some examples of triplet lines. I'll start with my lower grip here. This is grip 2. And then I'll go to grip number 1. That makes sense? And you can mix these together. Doesn't that sound really cool? All right, the final technique I want to teach you here are slides. This is the sound of slides. All right, so the slide exercise, basically we're gonna take our 3rd finger here, we're gonna slide the E twice, like that, okay? Same finger, and then we'll go down, slide to D. Does that make sense? C, A. And then we'll do the same thing. twice on the E, down slide on the D. I'm using the same finger down to A. And now we're gonna do a new pattern here on the C major 7 chord. We're gonna slide the E up to G, slide the E up to G, slide the D, it's a down slide, C, slide the D, down slide, and then switch to our C6 chord, up slide the E, G, E, G, and down slide the D. Does that make sense? All right, let's go ahead and do this at a medium tempo. Here's how it should sound. And if you were to play it with a backing track, it sounds like this. That's the exercise. You can play this with the backing track, and if you want to improvise with slides, the key here is to slide the E up or the D down, and you can do either one in any order. So here's some ideas for how you can improvise with this. All right, this concludes this week's quick tip, and if you enjoyed this lesson, I want to encourage you to check out pianowithjonny.com. We have over 800 step-by-step lessons in jazz, blues, swing music, cocktail jazz, Latin jazz, theory, technique, improvisation. It is the full learning platform for all playing levels. Also, be sure to check out the Piano with Jonny membership. This gives you unlimited access to all of our courses, plus you get to be part of our live monthly events, including our live Q&As where you can ask me your practice questions. We do live workshop lessons. We have student assessments where you can send me a video and I'll give you personalized feedback. We do weekly challenges for our members. We do student collaborations, and we have a ton of fun. So go check out Piano with Jonny, and I'll see you in the next lesson.